Well, howdy gamers, and welcome to the Erbs 2 devlog series, where I give updates on my in-development Eternal Return like Dota 2 mod. Whew, what a mouthful. This week I'm going to be mostly talking about a playtest that I did, and huge thanks to Wraithcure and the people in his server that took the time to playtest the mod with me. Something I had to fix last minute before the playtest was an issue where people could buy items from the shop, usually for free. To fix this, I just increased the price to 1 million, though this later caused a bug where people would get massive bounties when they killed other people. So I think the issue is still present, but just not until people start getting kills. That said, the playtest itself was actually a lot of fun, and it revealed a lot of glaring issues with the current iteration of the mod. Weapons granting the Huskar's spear ability dealt way too much damage, so I'll have to swap that in favor of something else. There's also some big issues with crafting. I'm not sure how to reproduce it yet, but there is a bug where you can buy an item to craft it, but it won't actually create the completed item. The recipe gets added to your inventory, and the fix is to empty an item slot from your main inventory, drop the recipe on the ground, and then pick up that recipe to craft the item. Additionally, we also got kind of far into the playtest without some people realizing that you could even craft new weapons. I don't know if a loading screen thing would be enough to fix that issue, but I plan on doing more than that long term. I think the only real fix is to make a custom crafting UI, which I really wanted to avoid, but this issue is too big, and crafting is a core part of the game's identity, so I think I'm going to need to bite the bullet on that. Another thing is that the wizard guy is just way too strong. This is mostly because of good juju and its interactions with crowd control abilities, where basically just people get kind of stun locked or just otherwise have too much trouble interacting with him. The one with the bow also has some issues, but that's from being on the weak side instead of being too strong, and her abilities being kind of boring. So both of these characters are gonna need an update. There was also a visual bug that I noticed, where some of the weapon particle effects weren't loading. I suspect this may be since I had to do some last minute bug fixing before the playtest, and maybe that somehow caused the issues, but I'm not sure what the issue is yet. Now I'm going to talk about what I plan to do in the near term. I don't think there's going to be any way to get around the crafting issues without making a custom UI. The backpack thing was annoying, where items in your backpack couldn't be used for crafting, and so you'd have to move them to your main inventory, but it was at least somewhat passable in my opinion. However, the recipe bug and lack of there being obvious crafting capability in-game is not. My plan is to add something like a quick craft UI from Eternal Return, as that provides both a convenient way to craft and a UI popping up telling you that you can craft things. So that should make things much more obvious. At some point, we also spent a lot of time just trying to find each other to fight when there's only a couple people left in the game. So I'm going to either make the fire go faster in general, or at least go faster when there are fewer people alive, just to help keep the game moving. Like I mentioned before, I think I just need to replace the Burning Spears ability. Since it's too strong, I expect it probably won't be a very interesting ability in the long term. So during the playtest, the cooldown transfer seemed like an unfun thing, especially when someone tried to heal or use the bird, since it locks you out of fighting for quite a while. To address this, I think I'm going to add a utility item slot. So you'd still be somewhat limited, but it wouldn't share cooldowns with your fighting abilities. So now that most of the video is done, I want to invite you to make some suggestions. The wizard guy and the one with the bow need some replacements. Any suggestions for the Q and R ability on the Draw Ranger character are welcomed. You can drop a comment on the video to make your suggestion. For Warlock, I think I just need to replace his R, good juju, since that's the main thing that was causing issues. I'm also welcoming item ability suggestions. The suggestions would need to optionally have the item's name, but would definitely need to have a suggestion for both the W and the E ability. And if you want to go the extra mile, you can make your suggestion in the form of a merge request. You would just need to download the mod, make your changes, and submit the merge request to the GitLab repository. Even with suggestions from YouTube, it would take time to add and test anything. So if you do the legwork and test stuff out a bit by making a merge request, it would go a long way towards getting your suggestions in the mod. I obviously won't be able to suggest all suggestions, but something already done is much more likely to make it into the game, as I am willing to make compromises for the sake of having something done, since I only have so much time to work on this mod. And with that, the devlog is done. So thanks for sticking around and watching. This is a much different format than usual, so let me know what you think. I'll catch you next time.